distinguished colleague from the province of Cavite and the Republic of the Philippines, no other than our Senate President pro tempore, Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Mr. President.
President Pro Temp, Senator Panfilo Lacson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, my esteemed colleagues, I rise today on a matter of personal and collective privilege. Before I start, Mr. President, and with the indulgence of our distinguished colleagues, let me put this one issue away first. The DPWH Undersecretary that I mentioned to have offered our Senate President through his staff to make insertions in the 2026 National Expenditure Program had vehemently denied it to her new boss, Secretary Vince Dizon, and to his face at that. Was actually lying through her teeth. Dapat alam niya na hindi ako basta nagsasalita ng walang katibayan. Ayan po ang resibo, Mr. President, and I quote, para maisama ko po sa NEP, sir. Her words, not mine. Sabi nga ng mga abogado, res ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself. I will now proceed, Mr. President. Exactly 3 weeks ago, I took this floor to expose what I called the flooded gates of corruption, a dam of deceit that is burst open, unleashing the tales of insatiable greed that continue to drown our nation. Simula na mabuksan ang agos ng usapan tungkol sa mga anomalya sa DPWH, bumuhos rin ang katakot-takot na ulat mula sa mga netizens at karaniwang mamamayan na nagmamatsyag sa mga substandard at ghost projects sa iba't ibang dako ng kapuluan. Kasabay ng bugso ng puot ng taong bayan laban sa iba't ibang personalidad na di umano ay sangkot sa pagsasamantala sa kaban ng bayan. Ang halos nagkakaisang sigaw ng lahat. Dapat may managot, dapat may makulong. Our frustrated countrymen cry in unison. Name, shame, and prosecute. We in this august hall share the same frustration, except for the chaos and anarchy in the streets and in some public and private properties, which hopefully will not escalate. It is but right and just that we all demand that heads must roll and those responsible must be put behind bars, whichever agency or office, even those in high towers of power, they may come from. Justice must catch up with these people because enough is enough. Having said that, my office is fully committed to submit the overwhelming loads of reports we receive on substandard and ghost flood control projects to the concerned authorities in view of the forthcoming investigation by the yet-to-be constituted independent probe body. To this end, we decided not to include the same or similar anomalous flood control projects anymore in my follow-up privilege speech today. Instead, I will focus on sharing with you the various forms of corruption in fine print. Evidence so telling that it will nail the coffin for the summary dismissal and or prosecution of these culprits with a warning that what you are about to see may be hazardous to your health in that it will make your blood boil over the maximum normal systolic and diastolic thresholds. First, how the fruits of corruption are being squandered, albeit partly by these officials, entrusted to protect people's lives and low-lying communities from the devastation caused by typhoons and low-pressure areas. And when I say partly, I do not mean paltry sums of money, Mr. President. Second, how the same officials maneuver and manipulate the processes and procedures involved to collect from unaccomplished or uncompleted, even ghost projects perpetrated by these incorrigible and probably beyond redemption government officials. Unahin po natin ang mga tinaguriang BGC boys. We delved so deeply into the web of corruption involving the culprits behind the notorious Bulacan flood control disaster. Sa lalim po ng inabot ng aming pagsisiyasat, sukdulang nakakarimarim na ang aming nadiskubre. These DPWH officials reached the lowest of the low and the highest of the high in the many corners of casinos across the country. On top of their multi-million peso wristwatches, signature clothes, and sneakers, and whatever else lavish lifestyles, these 5 erstwhile DPWH officials of the Bulacan First District Engineering Office gained them a moniker, BGC Boys. Not Bonifacio Global City Boys, Mr. President, but rather the Bulacan group of contractors as they have been known to casino employees. Hindi tambay ng High Street sa BGC ang mga ito. Hell Street siguro, Mr. President. At siyempre, nagtatago sa mga aliases ang BGC Boys. Let me do a roll call, complete with valid identification cards like driver's licenses from the Land Transportation Office, but this is a separate matter to be investigated, my distinguished colleagues. Ang kakasibak lamang na DPWH OIC Assistant Regional Director ng Region 4A at dating District Engineer ng Bulacan na si Henry Alcantara alias Joseph Castro Villegas. OIC District Engineer ng Bulacan, First District, Bryce Erickson G. Hernandez alias Marvin Santos de Guzman. Assistant District Engineer JP D. Mendoza alias PJ Castro Asuncion. DPWH Engineer 2 RJ Dumasic, introducing himself as a contractor from Sims Trading Corporation with alias Sandro Bernardo Park at Edric San Diego as himself. They may hide their identities, but having spent practically all my law enforcement years conducting intelligence and investigative work, I know criminals when I see them. No matter how real-looking their IDs are, no matter how long they were able to thrive in the shadows, no one can shield them from the day of reckoning that they deserve. Lalong-lalo na kung lantaran at walang pakundangan na ang pagnanakaw at paglustay ng kaban ng bayan, Mr. President. Base sa mga dokumentong nakalap namin mula sa PAGCOR, malulula tayo sa laki ng halagang naging talo sa kasino ng 5 ito. 950 million in gross losses, Mr. President. Base ang mga ito sa official at validated na record mula mismo sa 13 kasino sa Metro Manila, Cebu at Pampanga. Halimbawa, itong si former Assistant District Engineer at OIC, District Engineer Bryce Hernandez alias Marvin Santos de Guzman, mayroong combined gross losses sa mga kasino na 435 million pesos. Halos hindi sila nagkakalayo ng OIC Assistant District Engineer niya na si JP Mendoza alias PJ Castro Asuncion na may 418 million pesos sa nakabuwang talo sa iba't ibang mga kasino. Ang former District Engineer na si Henry Alcantara na hindi naman tumanggi na pumapasok at nagsusugal sa kasino ay nakapagpatalo ng 68,000 pesos pero bilang Henry Alcantara lamang yan. Ang mas malaking bulto ng kanyang talo habang nagtatago sa kanyang alias na Joseph Castro Villegas ay tumataginting na 36.7 million pesos in gross losses. Hindi rin natin sinasantabi ang milyones na pinatalo ng mga DPWH employees na nagpapanggap na contractors na sina Project Engineer RJ Dumasig alias Sandro Bernardo Park na may gross losses na 16.9 million at Edric San Diego alias himself or as himself na may losses na 42.4 million pesos. Akala siguro ng mga ito ay maaari silang manatiling multo o incognito. Ito ay isa lamang sa tambak na pagkakamali nila, Ginoong Pangulo. Interestingly, mukhang may kakaibang milagro ang dumapo sa tropang BGC Boys sa isang kasino sa Newport World Resort sa Pasay, kung saan sila ay tumabo ng 100 milyong pisong panalo mula August 31, 2023 hanggang April 4, 2024. Henry Alcantara, 4.7 million pesos. Bryce Erickson Hernandez, 189 million pesos. JP Mendoza, 320 million pesos. RJ Dumasig, 7.37 million pesos. Edric San Diego, 11.7 million pesos. Sinuwerto nga ba sabay-sabay na nanalo ang mga ito, Mr. President? O baka naman money laundering scheme? May report kami at ito ay aming pang binabalidate na peke lang ang pagdeklara nilang panalo. How so? Magpapalit ng cash into casino chips. Pero pag natalo ng kaunti, pupunta sa cashier para mag-cash out at ideklarang panalo ang pinagpalitan nilang chips. Smart? Your guess at this point is as good as mine. Sa Okada naman, may naka-record na one gaming activity mula October 17 to 18, 2022, sina Henry Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, RJ Dumasig at JP Mendoza, na kung saan maliban kay Henry Alcantara na nanalo ng 301,000 pesos, umuwing talunan ang ibang BGC boys dahil sa total losses na 1.75 million pesos. Mr. President, let me show you the record of cash to chips and chips to cash transactions of the BGC boys sa mga kasino na pinasyalan nila mula taong 2023 hanggang 2025. Henry Alcantara, alias Joseph Castro Villegas, cash to chips, 1.1 billion 428,170,000. Yes, Mr. President, you heard it right, my dear colleagues. B as in billion, hindi M or million. Cash to chips, 997,765,000 pesos. Bryce Hernandez, alias Marvin Santos de Guzman, cash to chips, 659,910,000 pesos. Chips to cash, 1,385,360,250 pesos. JP de Guzman, alias PJ Asuncion, cash to chips from 2023 to 2024, 26,500,000. Cash to chips, 2023 and 2024, 280,093,500 pesos. In this regard, my office has submitted their names and aliases to the Anti-Money Laundering Council since casinos are covered persons under the amended Anti-Money Laundering Act. Hindi pa po dito nagtatapos, Mr. President, ang kanilang mga kabulastugan. Sa aking naunang privilege speech noong August 20, 2025, nauna ko nang nilarawan base sa aming sources ang mag-among sina Alcantara at Hernandez na may parehong level ng pagmamahal sa pera. Itong si Bryce Hernandez, nagkalat na nga ang kanyang mga larawan sa social media dahil sa kanyang kabulastugan. Aba, hindi man lamang nahiyang pumasyal-pasyal sa isang kasino sa Metro Manila hanggang noong September 1, 2025. Habang naghihiring ang Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, si Bryce nasa isang kasino nagsusugal. Ang ibang BGC boys may record pa hanggang noong nakarambuan ng Agosto sa paglalaro sa mga kasino. Suma total, habang lubog pa rin sa tubig baha ang mga taga Bulacan dahil sa mga pangungurakot na mga ito at kahit booking na mismo ng Pangulo ang kalokohan, sige pa rin ang pagpapasasa ng BGC boys sa pagwawaldas ng pera ng taong bayan. Walang kahiya-hiya sa katawan. Wala pong konsyensya ang mga ito, Mr. President. Kung garapala ng pagwawaldas ng kaban ng bayan sa mga kasino, lalong garapala ng kanilang pagduduktor ng mga dokumento para makapagnakaw. Over the past week, we scoured hundreds of pages of documents, each page painting telltale signs of how deeply entrenched corruption has become in the BGC kingdom. Patterns emerge not by accident, but by elaborate design, a framework of rigged and questionable biddings, impossible timelines of completion, manipulated progress reports, and falsified public documents. Certainly, These are not clerical errors, Mr. President. These are fingerprints of a system perfected over the years to pocket billions of funds at the expense of our people's safety and welfare. For purposes of presentation, iisa-isahin ko na ang aming naging findings. Una sa ating listahan ang flood control structure sa bayan ng Bulacan, sa lalawigan ng Bulacan, na sakop ng notorious First District Engineering Office. Ang pondo ng flood control structure sa May Capiz, Taliptip River, Package B sa Barangay Perez ay nagkakahalaga ng 92.58 million pesos sa ilalim ng 2024 national budget. Mr. President, hindi ito basta ghost project lamang. Hindi rin ito basta-bastang substandard o palpak. This project may be added to the wonders of the world. Why? Because it will keep us wondering how in the world it was implemented at such an extraordinary speed and paid in extraordinary haste. Imagine, Mr. President, December 17, 2024, nang mai-award sa Sims Construction ang proyekto, may notice to proceed na agad ng sinundang araw o noong December 18, 2024. Matapos lamang ang 2 araw o noong December 20, naningil na agad-agad ang Sims at nagsumiti pa ng 46.05% completion rate na nagkakahalaga ng 42.63 million pesos para sa kanilang unang progress billing. 2 araw, Ginoong Pangulo, halos nangangalahati na agad sila sa accomplishment. May pambihirang talento at unusual speed pala ang mga taga-Sims Construction. O baka may magic, Christmas magic, dahil magpapasko na. Hindi man nakahabol sa Pasko, New Year pa rin ang bagong taon ng magkakasapakat na Sims Contractor at Bulacan DPWH. Dahil na-release agad noong December 27 ang unang bayad na 35.97 million sa Sims matapos bawasin ang VAT, withholding tax at retention fees. Palagay namin, Mr. President, kung kaya pa nilang kurakutin ang taxes, baka ninakaw pa rin nila. Kaya lang, inisip siguro, baka maalkapon sila. Paglipas ng 3 buwan, o noong March 14, naningil na muli ang Sims para sa 89.1% completion rate na nagkakahalaga ng 39.86 million pesos base sa kanilang second progress billing. Matapos ang 5 araw o noong March 19, bayad na agad ang Sims. Siyempre pa, mapupukaw ang aming curiosity kung anong pagkaiba ng proyekto mula noong December 24 kung saan 46% na ng proyekto ang natapos, kuno sa loob lamang ng 2 working days. At March 25, kung saan 89% completed na ang flood control project. Tingnan po natin ang pagkakaiba. Ito po ang mga larawan na naka-attach sa first billing request dated December 20, 2024 na 46% completed daw. At second billing request dated March 14, 2025. Sabi nga po nila, can you spot the difference? Wala po tayo makikitang pagkakaiba, Mr. President. Let me explain. Maliban na lamang kung ang 2 taong nakatayo noong December 2024 ay hindi umalis at hindi rin gumalaw hanggang Marso ng sumunod na taon, no-brainer ika nga, maliwanag na iisa ang larawan na ginamit at sinumite para sa 2 progress billings ng Sims. Trabahong tamad para sa trabahong gahaman, Mr. President. Hindi pa nagkasya rito ang handiwork ng contractor na Sims at DPWH, my dear colleagues. Sa third and final payment, sumobra pa ang kubra ng Sims ng 3.9 million pesos, kaya naging 14 million pesos. Kung susumahin natin, ang kabuuang siningil ng Sims ay umabot sa 96.499 million pesos o 3.9 million pa more sa original contract price na 92.585 million pesos. But lo and behold, aprobado ito, certified, checked, and reviewed by the BGC boys na sina Project Engineer RJ Dumasig at JP Mendoza ang monthly certificate of payment para sa statement of work ng SIMS kasamang dagdag na 3.9 million pesos sa revised contract. Ang unang minadaling progress billing number 1 approved for payment rin sina Bryce Hernandez at Henry Alcantara kaya release agad-agad ang singilin ng SIMS. Hinog na hinog sa criminal case na malversation through falsification of public documents. Mamaya po, hihimayin natin ang mga patong-patong na kaso na maaaring hanapin ng mga ito. If you know me, Mr. President, hindi pa rin sa akin sapat ang mga dokumento at kwento. Kaya muli ko pong pinalakad ang aking team upang makita ng sarili naming mga mata ano ba talaga ang lagay ng proyektong ito sa Barangay Perez, Bulacan, na katatapos lamang ngayong Mayo. Ang tumambad sa amin, Package A, ng parehong proyekto sa parehong lugar ng Package B sa Barangay Perez, Bulacan. Mukhang na-double whammy tayo ng SIMS Construction at ng mga kasabot nila sa DPWH. Kung nasaan ang Package B na minadaling nabayaran, ay mananatili na lamang guni-guni dahil tanging package A lamang ang nandun. Ito po ang itsura ng Package A na walang pinagkaiba sa ghost project na Package B. Tagpi-tagpi na nga at ang completed na Package A minulto pa sa Package B. Mr. President, SIMS Construction seems to be complicit sa broad daylight robbery na ito. Not once, but twice. Dapat makasuhan din ang kontraktor na ito bukod pa sa forever blacklisting. Marami pang katanungan kaugnay ng proyektong ito tulad na lamang ng irregularidad sa mga dokumento. Pag-release ng bayad sa kabila ng kakulangan ng pirma ng mga kaukulang opisyal. Sa dalawang proyekto sa Barangay Bulusan, Kalumpit, Bulacan, copy-paste din ang modus ng SIMS, Mr. President. Ang masama, dalawang proyekto pa ang hinokus-pokus ng kontraktor at DPWH engineer sa Bulacan. Ang isa, Contract ID number 25CC0072 para sa Riverbank Protection sa Barangay Bulusan, Kalumpit, Bulacan na may original contract price na 74 million pesos. Ang isa naman, Contract ID 25CC0091 para sa flood control structure sa Barangay Bulusan din mula sa Purok 4 hanggang Purok 5. Ang halaga, 92.7 million pesos. Akala namin na mamalikmata lamang kami noong una namin kinilatis ang mga kontrata, distinguished colleagues. But documents clearly show not only how unscrupulous but also how brazen these people can be. Parehong petsa ng notice of award ng dalawang contracts noong February 17, 2025. Pareho din ang petsa ng notice to proceed, February 25, 2025. Pareho pa ding may revised contracts na ang markup ay pareho pa ulit na 4%. At ang ultimong panggagago, Mr. President, sa loob lamang ng 15 araw mula February 25 hanggang March 12, parehong 89% ang completion rate ng dalawang proyekto. Hindi lang yun. Siyempre, sabay din ang singil ni SIMS para sa second and final payments noong April 4, 2025. Fully paid ang parehong proyekto na sa parehong araw din noong April 22, 2025. Parang nakinikinit ako na, Mr. President, na nagtatawanan pa ang mga matatalinong gagong matching na ito habang nagbibiyahe papuntang kasino, dala ang kwartang kinulimbat habang naglilimas ng tubig baha papalabas ng kanilang mga bahay ang mga pobreng taga Bulacan. Magkaibang proyekto na ang contract duration na sana ay 240 days at 270 days respectively. Pero sabay natapos ng record period na 34 days. 100% completed kuno. Sa kabilang dako, okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Baka nga naman 100% o 100% na lakas ang binigay ng SIMS kaya natapos agad-agad at sabay pa ang dalawang proyekto. Tingnan natin ang progress reports na sinumite nila, Mr. President. Sa slide na ito, makikita ang sinumiting photos para sa progress billing number 1 ng SIMS noong March 14, 2025. Sa kaliwa, attachment para sa 25CC0072 contract. Sa kanan naman, para sa contract 25CC0091, may pinagkaiba po ba? Ganito rin ang attachment para sa second and final billing na sinumite noong April 4, 2025. Hindi tayo namamalikmata. Harap-harapan, pinagnanakawan po tayo. Mr. President, sa kabuuan, 174,699,499 pesos and 11 centavos ang halaga ng dalawang proyektong ito. Base sa sinumite ng DPWH sa isang report sa Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, sinasabing ang contract ID 25CC0072 ay walang istruktura. Kaya ghost project po talaga ito. One project for the price of two. Hindi po ba sadyang panggagago na ito? Papayag po bang mahigit na 112 million Filipinos na patuloy na magpaloko sa kontraktor at 5 tulisan na ito? Obvious rin ang kabalbalan sa mga reports para sa proyektong construction of pumping station ng floodgate sa Barangay Atlag, Malolos, Bulacan na may halagang 92.5 million pesos sa ilalim ulit ng 2024 GAA. Ang kontraktor nito ang IM Construction Corporation. Base sa mga sales invoice, 4 na beses nakasingil ang kontraktor para sa kabuuan ng proyekto mula October 2024 hanggang Mayo nitong taon, kasama ng 15% advance payment. Nakikita po niyo sa screen ang mga petsa ng request for progress billing noong December 20, 2024, February 24, 2025, at April 29, 2025. At mapapansing pareho ito sa style ng SIMS, Mr. President. Subalit, ito natin ang ating atensyon sa mga naka-attach na larawan sa first progress report noong December 20, 2024 at third progress report noong April 29, 2025. Ang sunod na mga litratong ito ay may petsang December 2024 at April 2025 pa rin. Parehong larawan, ang mga bulok at kinakalawang na sheet piles, parehong pwesto ng mga makinarya at parehong pwesto ng mga manggagawa. Ang kaibahan lamang, ang lighting at contrast ng mga larawan. To ask how this doctored photos slip past the eyes of officials is not even a question, Mr. President. Talagang may sabwatan. Siyempre, Mr. President, hindi naman magpapahuli ang isa sa mga crowd's favorites. Simula nung lumabas ang dayaan sa mga flood control projects, wala pong iba kundi ang sikat na wow builders. Tulad ng SIMS at IM, malupit din talaga ang pattern ng kontratistang ito sa kababalaghan. Busisiin natin ang dalawang proyektong ito na alam na nating may distinct na halaga. Construction ng flood mitigation structure along Barangay Frances, Kalumpit, Bulacan na may halagang 77.199 million pesos at construction ng flood mitigation structure along Barangay Bulusan, Kalumpit, Bulacan na may halaga ring 77.199 million pesos. Ang dalawang kontrata na ito ay na-award sa Wawaw Builders noong February 1, 2023. Pero take note, Mr. President, mayroon kaming kopya ng dalawang sulat na may petsang January 30, 2023 or 2 days before na pirmado ni Wawaw Builders Manager Mark Alan Arevalo na nagsasaad na sila ang winning bidder para sa dalawang projects. Advance mag-isip si Wawaw, Mr. President. Ang notice to proceed para sa dalawang contracts pareho rin ng petsa, February 13, 2023. Subalit mahigit 1 linggo pa lamang ang nakalilipas mula sa petsa o notice to proceed, naniningil na para sa 50% project accomplishment rate ang Wawaw Builders. Ang nakasaad sa 50% accomplishment rate na ito ay resulta ng isinasagawang trabaho na di umano mula February 13 to 20. 7 days, Mr. President. Ayon sa mga sales invoice na hawak namin, na-release naman ang hinihinging kabayaran noong February 23, 2023. Ang kalahati ng kabayaran at retention fees again for both projects ay naatado naman sa release mula April hanggang July 2023. Sabay rin ang mga petsa ng bayaran kung saan hindi rin nagkakalayo ang mga halaga. Ang 50% ng proyekto isinagawa ng 7 araw. Ang sunod na kalahati, ginawa ng mahigit 4 na buwan. Not for one project, but for 2, Mr. President. Napakahusay, napakaganid. Kawawaw na kawawaw talaga tayo sa Wawaw Builders. Mr. President, Bulacan has proven to be the national sewer of corrupted flood control projects. Hindi na nakapagtataka na marami ang nagkalkal ng record ng mga kontraktor sa buong probinsya. Isa na dito ang Global Crit Builders na kumubra ng 2.195 billion flood control projects mula 2018 hanggang 2024 sa Bulacan pa lamang. Ang Global Crit ay pagmamayari ng mga maglangke ng Candaba. Si Mayor Rene Maglangke ang presidente noong 2024 na kung saan may mga kontrata na siya mismo ang pumipirma na dapat sana ay nag-divest siya. This should not come as a surprise, Mr. President. In the words of Mayor Maglangke, and I quote, "Isa akong malaking kontratista. Kilala sa buong Pilipinas na nangongontrata at bilyon-bilyon ang proyekto ko sa buong Pilipinas. Growing family business indeed." Pero hindi pa dito natatapos ang kwentong pamilya, Mr. President. The web of family names reveals a web of stories. Ang mga Maglangke rin ang may-ari ng MBB Global Properties Corporation na siya namang nagmamay-ari ng Windham Garden Hotel sa Clark, Pampanga na itinayo sa halagang halos 1 bilyong piso. Gayunman, kung babalikan, hindi lamang Maglangke ang kilalang family name na nagmamay-ari ng MBB Global Properties. Nitong August 15, 2025 lang daw nagpalit ng stockholders ang MBB. Nevertheless, the 2024 General Information Sheet or GIS of the MBB Global Properties Corporation would show the following. Macy Monique Maglangke, President. Sunshine M. Bernardo, Corporate Secretary. Fatima Gay B. Bonoan de la Cruz, Treasurer. Ulitin ko. Maglangke, Bernardo, Bonoan, MBB. Coincidentally, these are known surnames of today's flood control saga. Candaba Mayor Rene Maglangke, ang patriarch ng Maglangkes of Global Concrete Builders, contractor ng multi-billion peso worth of flood control projects. DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo na kamakailan lamang ay nag-early retirement matapos masangkot sa maanomalyang flood control. At siyempre pa, dating DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Maglangke, Bernardo, Bonoan, MBB, Mr. President. Kayo na po ang mag-connect ng dots. By the way, sina Macy Maglangke, Sunshine Bernardo, at pati Magay Bonoan de la Cruz ay mga anak na mga nabanggit na opisyal ng gobyerno. Kaya naman pala ang palaging depensa ni dating DPWH Secretary Bonoan, isolated case lang daw ang nakita ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa Ghost Project sa Bulacan. Ayaw na siguro ni Bonoan na maungkat pa sa investigasyon ang Global Crit. Saan ba hantong lahat na ito, Mr. President? Our people are growing impatient and angry, but we are not in the business of quick fixes and band-aid solutions. The newly installed Secretary of Public Works and Highways, Vince Dizon, has hit the ground running to weed out the corruption in the agency. Investigators are running their course in both chambers of Congress. The President shows no sign of wavering in this fight. We are on the right trajectory in getting to the bottom of this systemic rot and punishing to the fullest extent of the law those who have corrupted us. Sa dahilang ang prosecution ay mandato ng ehekutibo, titiyakin nating may ambag ang oversight functions ng Senado sa pagpapanagot ng mga sangkot. Lahat ng may kinalaman sa pagnanakaw, mapakontraktor o empleyado ng DPWH o mambabatas man, ay dapat isama sa kasong kriminal na isasampa. We respectfully urge the DPWH to refer this matter for the filing of criminal cases, including multiple violations of Article 217 in relation to Articles 48 and 171, Paragraph 4 of the Revised Penal Code, or malversation through falsification of public documents. For one, the falsification of documentation, particularly the use of manipulated photos in contractors' progress billing reports, later certified by DPWH officials, is a blatant violation of this provision. Mr. President, even if we do away with said complex crime and file cases for malversation alone, kung ang tampok na halaga ay higit 8.8 million pesos, reclusion perpetua o pagkakakulong ng 20 years and 1 day to 40 years ang parusa. Next is the prosecution for violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, Republic Act 3019, Section 3E, causing undue injury to the government or giving a private party unwarranted benefits, advantage, or preference through manifest partiality, evident bad faith, or gross inexcusable negligence. And Section 3G, entering on behalf of the government into contracts manifestly and grossly disadvantageous to it. And Section 8, in relation to Republic Act 1379, unexplained wealth. We also strongly endorse the filing of charges for violation of Republic Act 7080 or the Anti-Plunder Law, Mr. President. Sapat naman pong basihan ang nakakapangilabot na laki ng halaga ng mga anomalya sa flood control. Bilyones po ang pinag-uusapan nating nauwi sa ghost projects. Ang marangyang pamumuhay ng mga sangkot na opisyal ng DPWH at ang daang milyong kaya nilang ipatalo sa mga kasino ay kabilang sa magpapatunay sa paglabag sa batas na ito. These facts show that the accumulated ill-gotten wealth has undeniably breached the minimum threshold for plunder, which is 50 million pesos. Dahil ang bawat isang maanumalyang kontrata ay isang hayagang paglabag sa batas, malinaw po na natutugunan nito ang requirement ng Anti-Plunder Law na nagsasaad na ang ill-gotten wealth ay dapat nagmula sa paulit-ulit o serye na mga gawain upang makaipon ng yaman sa pamamagitan ng pandaraya. Mr. President, we likewise detailed the infractions of the BGC boys in connection with their gambling spree. Sa paggamit ng fictitious names o aliases upang itago ang kanilang identity sa mga casinos, easily, Mr. President, this is a clear violation of Article 178 of the Revised Penal Code, or the use of fictitious name and concealing true name. To further sustain the use of their pseudo-identities, the BGC boys used fake driver's licenses to gain entry into casinos, thereby violating Section 31, Article 2 of Republic Act 4136, which expressly outlaws the making, use, or possession of licenses in imitation or similitude of those legally issued by the LTO. Sa actual na garapalang paglalaro sa kasino, ito po ay violation ng Presidential Decree number 1869, Republic Act 6713, and various memorandum circulars prohibiting and penalizing government officials for entering and much more for playing in casinos. Mr. President, the Anti-Money Laundering Act as amended is likewise violated as the proceeds of graft and plunder are transacted and converted by purchasing casino chips and subsequently cashing them out after minimal gaming, thereby disguising the true source of the funds. Considering the glaring violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act by these big-time gamblers, we urge the Anti-Money Laundering Council to immediately initiate an action for the freezing of the bank accounts of these individuals and the subsequent prosecution for violating the law itself. Finally, Mr. President, umaapaw din ang kinaharap na kasong administratibo ng mga DPWH officials na ito. Among these are grave misconduct, serious dishonesty, gross neglect of duty, and or conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service, violations of the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees, and the Code of Conduct pertaining to the practice of their profession as regulated by the Professional Regulation Commission. Our goal is not only punitive but also preventive. So we do it through reforms in our legislation, Mr. President. Amendment of Republic Act 4566 as amended by PD number 1746 or the Contractors License Law to institutionalize the perpetual absolute ban of blacklisted contractors found to have ghost and substandard projects and higher penalties for conflicts of interest brought by interlocking positions in related industries or entities. Amendment to increase penalties for conflicts of interest, especially those public officials and employees who may also act as contractors under Republic Act 6713 or Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Transparency initiatives in the budget process and accountability measures in the planning and budgeting of infrastructure projects. Kung walang detailed architectural and engineering design or DAED, wala dapat pondo. DPWH should also publish DAED, Program of Works and Detailed Unit Price Analysis or DUPA. Mr. President, more than ever, we need people speaking up, not talking down on the efforts we have built. Words such as, wala ring mangyayari dyan, wala namang makukulong, at umpisa lang yan, malilimot din yan, do not help our cause, Mr. President, but only embolden those who have robbed us of our hard-earned taxpayers' money. In my first privileged speech, I spoke about the flooded gates of corruption. Today, we turned our sight into a darker place, the flooded gates of hell. There, we can find those who rob the Filipino people, drowning not in floodwaters but in sins and moral decay of the corrupt and greedy officials and contractors. Sana, sa madaling panahon, malunod ang may mga kasalanan sa dami ng kasong kanilang haharapin. Mr. President, these people have reduced the lives of our flood-stricken countrymen into living hell. It is time to give them what they rightly deserve. Thank you, Mr. President.
I see that the Senator Rodante Marcoleta is seeking the floor. What is the pleasure of Senator Marcoleta?
I'd like to know, Mr. President, if our good Senate President pro tempore would yield to a few questions.
Willingly to the still the chairman of the Committee on Public Accountability, the good senator from Tarlac and the Republic of the Philippines.
You may proceed then.
Maraming
Senator
salamat
Marcoleta.
po, Mr. President. Mr. President, kanina pong mag-umpisang mag-present ang ating Senate President pro tempore, ay laking pasalamat ko sapagkat nakita ko yung resulta ng kanyang personal na pag-iimbestiga. Doon po sa kauna-unahang slide, Mr. President, nakita ko po yung isang text message na galing po yata kay Yusek Catalina Cabral. Hindi ko po masyadong maintindihan. Pwede po bang pakikwento po ninyo, Mr. President, ano po ba yung pinanggalingan noon?
Ang pinanggalingan po, nag-congratulate siya sa ating nakaupong Senate President. But this message was sent through the staff of our Senate President, Mr. President. Ang sinasabi doon, congratulations po, no?
That was after July 1.
After
July
proclamation 1st. Or after oath taking, Mr. President.
After the oath taking, if I distinctly remember.
So dahil siguradong panalo na po tayo, kayo rin po, dahil nag-oath taking na tayo, nag-message si kagad yung Undersecretary Cabral sa kanyang staff at sinasabi, congratulations, baka merong ako andyan po sa text message, sa Viber message, na sinasabi para ma-align do sa mga priorities at para maiwasan yung redundancy, siya nang gagawa ng paraan. Ang sabay ang sinabi na para maihabol o maisama na sa NEP. So nag-iimbita siya na magsumite kayo, parang sinasabi 500 million pesos yata, ibig sabihin ng 500 yan eh. Kasi hindi naman malinaw, pero ang sinabi, po kayo 500 for now. For now. Ibig sabihin, for now, sige, magpasok kayo mga 500 million pesos worth of projects na sa inyo manggagaling. So ito po yung sinasabi natin na isang kamalian ng budgeting or budget process. Dahil ang trabaho, mandato ng Kongreso, both houses, legislation. Yung pong NEP, nasa budget preparation phase na kung saan exclusive domain ng executive branch. Pero bakit po, dahil ganyan ang nangyayari, mismo sa DPWH na nanggagaling na magpasok na kayo rito. Hindi ho ba pakikialam yun sa mandate o sa exclusive authority ng executive branch?
Salamat po sa sagot na yon, Mr. President. Ako po yung naniniwala na talagang wala namang initiative na nanggaling sa inyo at siya'y kusa niyang inialok po yung inaakala niya sigurong makakatulong o makakapagbigay ng kasiyahan sa inyo. Yun po yung akala niya.
Opo. At agad pong tinanggihan ng ating Senate President.
Alam ko po.
Sinabi niya agad sa staff niya, wag, ayoko ba't ako maglalagay dyan?
Kasi po kaya ako naitanong to, Mr. President, kahapon po, ayaw pa niyang aminin na dahil sa pagtatanong ko po na sa kanya, sinabi ko bakit lumilitaw kahit anong ibigay na ceiling ng DBM, pinapalitan mo, sabi ko sa kanya. Ayaw po niyang aminin yon, wala raw po siyang kinalaman kung ang pag-uusapan ay yung paglilista. Wala raw siyang kinalaman. Ngayon po malinaw na nagsisinungaling talaga siya sapagkat naipakita ko po kahapon, Mr. President, lalong-lalo na po sa flood control projects, yun pong mga insertions, aminin man ya't hindi, ngayon po inapatunayan na natin, ay talagang siya po talaga yung gumagawa dahil siya po yung Undersecretary ng Planning Services. At lalong-lalo na po doon sa tinatawag na FAPs. Ito po yung Foreign Assisted Projects. Yun po malinaw na malinaw. Ipinakita ko po, Mr. President, yung sulat ng DBM noong July 2023 na kung saan sinabi mismo sa kanya, please adhere strictly dun sa mga ceilings na binibigay namin sa inyo. Dahil napansin po ng DBM magmula po noong 2022, 2023, pinapalitan po niya hanggang sa 2024. Ayaw po niyang aminin na siya po ang may kinalaman nun. Ngayon ko lang napatunayan, salamat Senate President Pro Tempore na ngayon ay malinaw na malinaw, hindi na niya pwedeng sabihin at hindi na siya pwedeng magsinungaling na wala siyang kinalaman dito. Ang totoo pa po nito, Mr. President, ang dami pong gustong tumestigo na meron po siyang 10 paboritong contractors na siguro sa mga susunod na panahon, kung sino man po yung hahawak ng Blue Ribbon Committee, isa po sigurong mabuting direksyon na ituntunin ito. At marami rin pong palagian na pumupunta sa kanyang opisina na mga politiko. Gusto ko pong pasalamatan ng ating Senate President Pro Tempore sapagkat mukhang yun pong mga kawani o mga opisyalis ng DPWH na matutuntun na natin at alam ko po na talagang tatagos ito hanggang sa former Secretary ng Department of Public Works. Kasi kahapon po, gusto niya nang sabihin na lahat ng daw po ng nangyayari sa kanyang opisina ay meron namang basbas ng Secretary ng Department of Public Works. Ngunit ang gusto ko pong tuntunin, Mr. President, kung nakita na po natin unti-unti at saan papunta at sinong may kasalanan sa Department of Public Works at nailitaw na rin po sa pagsusuri at sa personal na pag-iimbestiga ng ating colleague, ang mga contractors na talagang, kung pagsasamahin po natin mga contractors na ito at saka yung mga opisyalis na nabubunyag ngayon, siguro po yung salitang walang o halang ang kaluluwa ay is an understatement. Ang gusto ko pong malaman ngayon, bakit po kaya sila ganun kalakas ang loob? Bakit parang hindi na po milyon eh? Bilyon-bilyon na po ang naipatatalo at hindi naman po nila pera yun. Pera po ng taong bayan. Mr. President, ganun po ba kaya kalakas ang loob nila na sila-sila lang, mga contractors at saka yung mga opisyalis na yon? Wala po kayang mga politiko sa loob, sa likod nila? Sana po matukoy yung tunay na mga proponents para po yung walang kasalanan ay hindi po nadadamay. Mahirap po na magbanggit sila ng pangalan dahil ito pong nagbabanggit ng pangalan ngayon ay galing lang sa amin kahapon at napatunayan ngayon na bilyon-bilyon ang ginagasta at magdadamay siya. At meron pong nag-text sa akin sa magitan ng emissary ng abogado ng Diskaya, Mr. President. Meron po palang isang congressman, kanina pong nag-hearing sila, nakausap yung abogado ng Diskaya. Kailangan, meron kayong matukoy na senador sapagkat makokontempt kayo. Nasa akin po yung text message, Mr. President. Sa mga tweet, gusto lang nilang magpangalan. Hindi po mabuti yun. Kailangan po, sa tulong na rin po ni Senator Lacson, total naumpisan na yung mga contractors, naumpisan na itong mga kawani at opisyalis ng DPWH na talagang kandidato na po talaga sa impyerno, matukoy po talaga kung sino-sino po yung palaging kausap ni Yusek Cabral na sila po yung sindikato dito. Para po yung walang kasalanan ay huwag pong madamay. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President. Salamat po, Your Honor.
Yeah, maraming salamat po rin sa ating distinguished gentleman from Tarlac and the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, the erstwhile minority leader, is recognized.
Mr. President,
Future.
hindi pa naman, but thank you for
Future,
that.
future.
And may I ask one of my mentors, Senator Lacson, if I can ask a few questions.
Willingly to the gentleman from Taguig and the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you po. So let me start with the biblical principle and why I agree with you, Senator. No? Kasi sabi po sa Bible, it's not enough to do good. We have to prevent evil. So I'm happy that despite na mas pinipick up talaga ng media in general, whether social media, tri-media, yung expose nyo like last time, you took the time to go through the various laws and to remind us. Kasi syempre ang common thinking, wala naman nangyayari dyan, na-absuelto din. No? But I do appreciate it. Kasi nga, it's not enough na ma-expose. It's not enough na may solusyon. Ito tama, yan ang hinahanap. Kailangan talaga may managot. And I was thinking about it kanina, Senator, kasi kaya ako nasabing mentor. Nakasama kita nung husto nung panahon ng cheating. Hello, Garci. So ngayon parang hello
Darcy.
Hello Darcy naman po ba to? O, basta yung or ano yung sine? Hello, goodbye. Hello, love, goodbye. Parang hello, may kontrata, love kong gawin to, tapos goodbye, wala pa palang ginagawa na bayaran na, no? So yung first question ko, Senator, is related to yung sinabi ni Senator Villanueva na if you cannot convince them, confuse them, so mukhang ang strategy, at narinig ko na to even before the speeches, na pagka nilabas nyo to, dadamay ko na lahat. So ang problema natin ngayon, sinong totoo at hindi. So first question ko, Senator, are you in favor na yung klarong-klarong involved, simulan na yung kaso sa kanila?
Definitely, and I hope the will of justice will grind more quickly this time. Kasi habang nakakulong sa atin, custody, no, nasa custody natin si Bryce Hernandez dahil na-contempt siya kahapon, kung mabilis lang sanang makapag-file ng kaso, no, starting with a complaint to be filed before the Ombudsman or the Department of Justice, mabilis po rito yung malversation through falsification. Kasi kung plunder po yung ating ipafile, alam mo naman natin, 10 taon, 12 taon, tapos may speedy trial pang i-invoke. So kung malversation, mas mabilis kasi ang threshold amount is more than 8.8 million. No bail na po ito. Of course, naipen po ito ng isang retired Supreme Court Chief Justice at yun yung umiiral na batas na kung saan mas madaling i-prove eh. Kasi tulad nito, malinaw na kulang-kulang yung pirma, hindi naman kompleto, mga litrato talagang halatang pinalsify, swak na swak po and I would say open and shut case kung ipapile. And I intend to submit, as I already promised, no, committed to him, to Secretary Vince Dizon, lahat po ng aming nakalap, lahat ng dokumento, lahat ng attachments, ibibigay ko sa kanya para kung ma-constitute na yung independent commission para magpa-file. Ano? I think they're just waiting for the issuance of the executive order. Para na sa ganun, ma-transmit niya na agad at masimula na kagad yung pagpa-file ng complaint. Ano? Kasi hindi rin madali. Medyo process yung preliminary investigation. Kung ombudsman man yan, baka mamaya idaan pa sa fact-finding investigation. Hindi agad-agad mag-PI. So yun po yung ating problemang hinaharap. Na kaya nawawalan ng gana yung ating mga kababayan sa tagal.
Yes. Actually, Sir President, nasagot mo na rin yung susunod kong tanong, which is, well, technically, no, which is, will you be in favor of partial committee reports kung klarong-klaro? Kasi nga may sistema na rin ang ombudsman na pagka nang galing sa Senado o House, no? So I know it's fraught with dangers and you don't have to answer me now, but just to your point, di ba, na if the investigation takes us till the end of the year sa dami at saka pa tayo mag-committee report, may pangalawang debate dito sa committee report. Pero halimbawa, may nakita na kayong, as of now, Mr. President, ilan po yung nakita nyo na ghost na klaro?
Napakarami. Sa Bulacan po, hindi lang namin sinama. Ang bilang namin, mga 30 eh.
So for example lang, Mr. President, no? Let's say sa 30 yon, meron 4, 5, 6 na tao na napaka-clear. Let's say yung pumirma na completed, yung contractor. Tapos for example, kung may COA report na lumabas sa COA report na yon na completed, edi pwede rin. Kung wala pa namang COA report, hindi naman kasama yon. But ang point ko, Mr. President, is that kasi pagka yung klarong-klaro na guilty or at least the evidence is overwhelming, that will also help us get direction. Pero kung hihintay natin ilan, paano kung ang involved dito, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 tao, guguluhin lang po nila eh.
Yes, Mr. President, and that is not without President, no?
Yes.
Dahil nagawa na natin ito eh. Nagawa tayo, yung committee, nagsubmit ng partial at ito'y pinag-usapan natin sa plenaryo at nung na-adapt, pwede natin ipadala sa Ombudsman or sa DOJ.
And Mr. President, it will not affect the case. So
It will not affect
So meaning if we find out later on that there was a legislator or a secretary or a undersecretary involved, you can still file the case. Kasi ang masama po, di ba, kung final na natin ngayon laban sa 5 tao, tapos bawal mo na i-file against 3 tao, yung 3 tao na yun ay mastermind, then we agree it will be a partial whitewash. Pero hindi, this is not the case here. No, the case here is that if in the course of investigation may lumabas na equally as guilty or mastermind or accessory or accessory after the fact, pwede pa naman pong kasuhan yon.
Yes, Mr. President, as long as kompleto resibo. Kasi mahirap yung sabi-sabi, turo ka ng turo, asan yung pruweba mo?
That's right.
Hindi po ba?
And that's part of the confuse them. So one of the effects of today of naming two senators, burahin ko muna yung pangalan ng dalawang senador. Sabihin natin hindi sinabi yung pangalan ng dalawa, sabihin natin hindi kilala. May chilling effect din yun eh. Para bang sinasabing, oy, pag nag-ingay din kayo at nag-imbestiga din kayo sa Blue Ribbon dito, ipapangalan naman namin kayo. Di ba? Eh, ang daling magpangalan ngayon. And I'll go beyond pinangalan ka na tumanggap. Ngayon, parang lumalabas is nag-advocate ka lang ng isang proyekto. Or yung, for example, no, if a state university now suddenly has a building, what if ikaw yung presidente, wag ng congressman o senador, ikaw ay pangulo ng university na yon at gusto mong itayo yung building. Parang may implication ka agad na kasama sila sa kalokohan. Eh paano ko yung building na yon na-inspect, wala rin namang mali. So nakikita ko po na yes, we have to be thorough, but tama po kayo na pag walang resibo, in fact, umaabot nga minsan yung walang resibo na nagbabanggit ng project pero hindi naman sinabing may problema sa project na yon.
Yeah, speaking of chilling effect, Mr. President, I remember, no, just occurred to me, noong yung na policy issue exploded right in our faces, ako pa mahimbing ang tulog ko noon kasi wala naman po akong pork barrel. So, mahimbing ang tulog ko. Hindi ako nag-aalala na kinabukasan, pagbukas ko ng dyaryo, makikita ko yung pangalan ko doon. And similarly, in this particular issue, pag ako po naturo, baka manghabol ako ng taga.
Well, unang-una, Mr. President, alam naman po natin relationship natin dalawa. We don't always agree, but you've always looked over my back then. I hold the record of the fastest to be confirmed because of you and of course, the Senate President sa DFA. But alam niyo, Mr. President, unfortunately, gusto ko man matulog po kayo na mahimbing pag tinanggap niyo yung trabahong yan. Kasi natandaan niyo po nung Napoles, may umiikot na abogado or may mga umiikot noon na parang pag hindi kayo nagbigay, isasama kayo sa listahan. And like you, matahimik ang maganda tulog ko. Bakit po? Because medical, ginagamit ko po noong time na yon yung pork barrel. Pero panay medical assistance and walang cash. Hindi ako naglagay sa kahit anong NGO, sa kahit anong so mahimbing ang tulog. But then before mag-end yung hearing natin, may nilabas naman sila. Walang project, walang advance, pero natulungan ko sila. So pwedeng biglang may mag-appear dyan na sabihin si Senator ganito, si Congressman ganyan. Pati Presidente pwedeng sabihin, actually nagbigay ako ng eleksyon dyan. And because walang resibo, the reality it could be true or not. So I'm just happy that we discussed that. I'm not saying they're confusing us. I'm just saying it can be done. Which goes to my second to the last point, Mr. President. I thank you for the very comprehensive list of laws. Kung pwede lang po ako magdagdag ng isa.
Sige po.
Kasi the benefit po of having a Senator Lacson is he was a not only an ordinary policeman, a chief PNP, and also what was the official designation sa PACC?
Chief po.
Chief,
ng
no?
Presidential Anti-Organization.
So yung build up, yung investigasyon at build up, likha sa inyo. Kasi sa ibang trial lawyers, lalo kung hindi ka naging prosecutor, alam mong guilty pero walang build up walang investigasyon no? So I'd like to bring to point, just like Senator Villanueva, itatanong ko sana to. Actually, sumulat ako kay Chairman Marcoleta sa Blue Ribbon na mag-attend ulit ang hepe ng BIR. At kasi nabasa ko sa dyaryo, nilowa na daw nila yung mga contractor ngayon. But nung araw po, isang lowa lang sa isang taon. Ngayon, 3 po o 4 pwede. So maraming nagrereklamo na tuloy-tuloy yung mga lowa. So gusto ko sanang malaman, kaya sumulat ako, pinapacheck ko sa staff ko kung sumagot ang BIR. In the last 3 years kaya, etong nakakakuha ng bilyon-bilyon, na-issuean kaya to ng lowa ng BIR, ng regional directors? And if yes, ano yung resulta? Kasi kung ghost, Mr. President, diba? Makikita mo sa audit Ang point ko, Mr. President, gusto ko idagdag yung Al Capone theory. Na pag hindi mo mahuli sa murder, sa smuggling ng alak, sa prostitution, sa smuggling, pero kitang-kita yung pera, pwede din natin idalihin yan sa tax evasion.
Yes, I fully agree, Mr. President. Ang problema, as pointed out by our Senate President during his interpellation, sinabi niya merong isang contractor, ito yung Alpha and Omega, may kaso na sa Court of Tax Appeals, nirenew pa uli ng pickup yung kanyang lisensya. So how can you reconcile kung hindi systemic yung corruption? I don't know what is.
Yes.
Ano?
No, I agree, but someone we know very well commented and was congratulating you. But sabi din niya, o tandaan natin, hindi lang DPWH, marami pang iba. I think nabanggit niya BIR. Siya nagbanggit, hindi ako. But ang point ko, if we really want to get away if we want them to get away, we do not address the culture. And I think this has been your life's work, not only to expose, but to, that's why
Follow
nga,
through. Yeah.
that's why nga pagdating sa pork barrel, you decided na hindi na, because you want to get away, you want to take away, not get away, you want to take away that culture. You want to replace that culture with a culture that doesn't promote corruption. So natutuwa ako na yung customs umakto kaagad, hinabol yung mga sasakyan. Natutuwa din naman ako sa BIR na nag-issue kaagad, tinignan, nag-issue ng LOA. I think mag-executive session bago nila i-submit. But I want to look deeper, Senator Kuya Ping, na sana matignan din natin ano pang ibang ahensya ang pinagtakpan tong mga, kasi ang isang tinitignan ngayon ng BIR, social media. Pero kung makikita natin yung tinagurian Nepo babies, grabe po yung yung kayamanan nandun eh. So ordinarily, kung anak po yan ng mga oligarchs natin, na BIR na yan eh. For all I know, baka na BIR na. Hindi ko lang sure, but baka pwede nating tignan. And the last point, Mr. President, may I request your staff na ibalik dun sa text ni Yusek Kati. May isa lang po akong comment kung papayag kayo.
That's the most popular and most demanded part of the privilege speech. Pakibalik nga uli yung text message. By the way, I asked the permission of the Senate President if I could...
Yes, of course, Mr. President. And of course, Mr. President, we are covered by immunities and by plenary power precisely so that, in aid of legislation, we can do this. And yung blue ribbon goes beyond in aid of legislation. So sabi pala ng staff ko, sumagot ang BIR pero yung dokumento at detalye sa executive session. So I look forward to that. Mr. President, tinanong ko rin, just like Senator Villanueva, hindi ako naka-attend ng huling hearing kasi nga nabalitaan namin may change of leadership.
Hindi rin kami naka-attend kasi busy kami nagbibilang ng numero.
The hearing before that, natanong ko si Yusek Kati kasi may tinatawag na IAW, which is 3.5% ng lahat ng project.
Yes.
At part dito po yung testing, yung pang-monitor ng project. Sa 3 taon, umabot ng 100 bilyon na napupunta sa DPWH.
Sa central office.
Pwedeng sa central office, pwede din pong
Alam niyo, Mr. President, isa ito sa pwedeng tanungin sa budget deliberation natin. Dati 0.5 lang yan eh.
Yes.
Bakit tumaas na naging 3.5 na? Medyo napakalaking bawas yan do sa dapat gastusin sa proyekto.
So sa 1 trillion a year, that's 3.5%. So sa 3 years, 'di ba? Gaano kalaki yan? But ang point ko po, biglang hindi lang amnesia eh. Parang ang sagot ni Yusek Kati panay hindi niya alam, etc. Tapos tinanong ko siya doon sa geotagging. Sabi ko, nabanggit ngayon ni Senator Mark na may geotagging, hindi din daw niya alam dahil sa planning. So I just wanted to point out.
Mr. President, if I may interrupt, yung geotagging na yan, panahon pa ni Secretary Singson, ginagawa niya na yun eh. Pagka meron tayong budget deliberation at nandiyan sa plenaryo, magtanong ka sa kanya ng yung status ng isang proyekto, titingnan niya lang sa
Yes.
iPad niya, sasabihin sa iyo eh.
So the point I want to make, Mr. President, is parang sunod-sunod ang sagot niya na hindi niya sakop, hindi niya alam, hanggang tinanong ko siya na meron naman kayo execom. Pero dito po sa text message, ang linaw, sabi niya, tingnan niyo para ma-vet ko. Redundancy, overlap, prior funding, correct location, alignment of national priorities, and consistency for menu of local projects. So, one, malinaw na yung insertion ay hindi lang legislators at hindi lang sa BICAM. Sa pagpapagawa pa lang ng NEP, pagka malakas ka dun sa departamento, pwede mo ipasok, except that mas may guidelines sa umpisa. But number 2, it just shows that yung sagot ni Yusek Kati is so different from her text. Kasi sa text pag tignan mo, parang napaka-organizer, tignan niyo po, di ba? titignan kung may redundancy. Ibig sabihin kung yung project na pinasok mo, pinasok na ng
Mr.
iba.
President, I'd like to believe na pro forma yun.
Yes. Pero even if
Standard na sagot niya yan.
even if pro forma, even if staff niya yung magche-check, ang layo,
Pro forma yung text na yun.
yes, yes. But ibig sabihin, Senator, ang layo sa sagot niya ng, sir, hindi ko departamento yan, hindi ko alam. Di ba? So I'll stop there, Mr. President, and look forward to, what else this chamber will find. May I just make one comment? Marami kasi nagsasabing walang mangyayari sa hearings. Democracy is messy. But having a Blue Ribbon Committee, having the House Committee, having an independent body, having COA, having BIR, whether it was the ZTE, whether it was the fertilizer scam, whether it was Farmally, it has shown that the combination of investigations ferrets the truth. It also has been shown that confusion or yung turuan or yung squid tactics can happen. But let me just affirm my personal view that napaka-importanting tool ng Committee on Public Accountability ng Blue Ribbon, and I look forward to working whoever will be designated by the majority. Thank you very much, Senator Lacson.
Thank you.
Mr. Senate
Thank you, sir.
President, salamat po.
Now that you mention it, perhaps we should inform the public. I know that most of them many are watching. I've heard through not only social media but mainstream media that bakit ba nag-iimbestiga pa sila? Yung tanong bakit daw ang Senate nag-iimbestiga? Iniimbestiga ang sarili nila. Yung House nag-iimbestiga, iniimbestiga ang sarili nila. I think they have it wrong. We are inquiring in aid of legislation. Kailangan ulit-ulitin natin yun na ito ay recommendatory. Wala tayong prosecutorial powers. But this would aid in the bills, the laws that we would want to pass.
And Mr.
So
Senate
that- yes.
President, siguro yung ibang nag-comment na yon, even if it's coming from a good place, hindi alam yung dynamic sa Senate.
Correct.
So halimbawa may 10 senador, kahit yung chairman ayaw niya imbestigahan yung isang senador, kahit sino sa 10 ay pwede magtaas ng kamay at magsabing, can you submit these documents, can you answer, etc.
Yes.
No? And for example po, hindi natin pwedeng tawagin yung senador na yon. But then if it becomes clear, anyone can file an ethics committee complaint, and in the ethics committee, may karapatan tayong at least through the tamang, kung hindi naman natin ma-require na mag-attend, mare-require natin sumagot So I just sisegundahan ko lang, Mr. President, na valid yung parang hindi nyo pwedeng imbestigahan yung sarili nyo, pero hindi po valid na walang halaga yung investigasyon na to. At
Correct.
pag nalaman nyo yung dynamics ng Senado, makikita nyo po na maraming kabutihan lumalabas sa lahat ng investigasyon natin. Thank you, Mr. President.
Correct.
Senator Lacson, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good
Your
to clarify that for those who are questioning or criticizing the investigations or the inquiries. Yes, Senator Joel
President.
Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May I just be allowed also to join the party and find out if our mentor, our good friend, our Senate President Pro Tem, Senator Ping Lacson, would yield to some questions from this humble representation. Mr.
Certainly, from the distinguished gentleman from Bulacan.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, at the onset, again, as I mentioned last time when the gentleman from Cavite delivered his privileged speech, I am deeply grateful and appreciative of his desire to ferret out the truth, and most especially, not just to point out the real culprits of this multi-billion, if not trillion, well-oiled machine being perpetrated by syndicates in our country. I'd like to put on record, Mr. President, my deep thanks and gratitude kasi sa pangalan po ng mga kababayan natin sa dakilang lalawigan ng Bulacan. And nung kanina po habang nagsasalita kayo, Ginoong Pangulo, touch na touch po ako kasi Ako na ho mismo yung nagsabi dito 2023 na paulit-ulit na lang po ito, and 2024 in fact binanggit ko din po, Ginoong Pangulo, na yung mga kababayan ko, and even I, Mr. President, even I actually thought wala na talagang mangyayari dito dahil masyado ng embedded yung sistema ng korupsyon, lalong-lalo na po sa flood control. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, doon din sa binanggit kanina ni Senator Ping na importante yung resibo, importante na sa pagbabanggit ng mga individual, not because may good name was mentioned a while ago, Mr. President, pero talagang tama po yung sinabi ni Senator Cayetano na ganun ho yung sitwasyon ngayon. If you cannot convince them, confuse them, bring out names, walang ebidensya, walang resibo. Kaya po kanina yung binanggit ko, and I'm not just defending myself, na I'm not just categorically denying it, but saying na may resibo tayo and very easy to verify itong mga documents. So I appreciate it, Mr. President. Let me also put on record, Mr. President, matagal na naman, Ginoong Pangulo. Senator Ping, you've known me for as far as I can remember when I entered politics. Nagsimula pa tayong magkasama doon po sa ease of doing business. Nang ease of doing business, nagsimula po tayo dun sa Anti-Red Tape Act. Bagitong-bagito po ako bilang kongresista. Bagitong-bagito po ako bilang kongresista nung tinulungan niyo po ako nung lumabas din ho yung pangalan ko. At kayo ho, and a lot of people don't know about this. You helped me by connecting me to NBI agents and those experts who can actually clear my name dahil sila yung nakakaalam. Ano nga ho ba tawag doon sa
Yung handwriting expert.
handwriting experts, Mr. President. So salamat po, Mr. President. 2019 pa po nawala yung complaint na yun, and kayo po yung dahilan. And I rose here again, Mr. President, because I wanted to find out and learn again from you being an expert investigator, Mr. President. Alam niyo po, yung binabanggit niyo po kanina, I have two questions lang kanina, three questions, Mr. President, but the two questions were already raised by Senator Cayetano. Ang one question ko lang that I would like to raise is, yung pong binanggit niyo kanina doon po sa text message ni Yusek Cathy Cabral, and inulit ko po if you can show it again, sinulat ko po dito, nakalagay dito, ma-vet ko, redundancy, overlap, prior funding, and correct location. Binanggit din ni Senate President Soto yung kahalagahan ng ginagawa natin dito. We are here in aid of legislation, kaya tayo nag-iimbestiga. Ang tanong ko lang, Ginoong Pangulo, Mr. President, sa gentleman from Cavite, doon po sa text ni Yusek Cathy Cabral na mabet ko yung redundancy, overlap, prior funding, correct location, etc. Nagawa po ba ito dito sa sinubmit na 2026 NEP? Kasi tinitignan ko lang po itong NEP na sinubmit. Sa sariling gana po ng aking pagsasaliksik, napakadami po ng redundancy, overlapping, prior funding, at correct location, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. Kaya naman po pinayagan natin na magsabit ng errata yung agency, which is the DPWH in this case. Pero hindi tayo bound na sundin lahat yung kanila sasabit na errata, of course, because it is already within the jurisdiction of the Congress to deliberate or examine, analyze the National Expenditure Program. Kaya nga po nakapagsabi ako noon na hindi po pwedeng ibalik yung buong NEP because in the first place, hindi naman po yun budget measure, yun po ay proposal lamang.
Yes.
At binigyan na sa atin ng executive branch at it's up to Congress to make amendments. But then, kasi masyadong voluminous, minabuti natin na okay, papayagan namin kayo at si Secretary Vince Dizon, sabi niya by September 15, ready na siya na ibalik yung o isabit yung errata. But the National Expenditure Program remains with us. So, kinurek ko po yun kasi ang sabi ng House, altogether balik yung NEP, which is not allowed.
Yeah.
Hindi ito against procedure po ito.
Bawal po remand.
Bawal ang remand. Tama,
Okay,
tama,
so
bawal ang remand.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as I cannot agree more with the statements made by our distinguished colleague. I totally agree. But baka sabihin din po ng mga nakikinig, naisip lang yata ni Joel yan. Thank you for showing it again. Yang naisip lang yata yan ni Joel, no? Kasi yung binabanggit po ng DPWH at dun po sa text message na ating pinag-uusapan, sabi ho, para mabet for redundancy, overlap, correct location and alignment to national priorities consistent dun sa menu. Dun ho sa NEP na...
Ang tawag po rito, sugar coating.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Para mas magandang tingnan na hindi naman arbitrary.
Kunyari po.
Yeah,
Kasi
kunwari.
gusto kong sabihin at muli, para to put on record, Mr. President, na tayo dito sa Senado, nagtatrabaho tayo. Tayo sa Senado, when we speak, we have receipts. May resibo po tayo. No? For example po, dito sa NEP ng 2026, gusto ko lang banggitin, no? I can name at least 10, Mr. President. 10 double appropriations, no? At overlapping. Siguro, unahin ko yung dun sa Malabuyok, Cebu. Dalawa po yun sa page 1259 at 1259. Pareho po, no? Doon po sa Kapas Tarlac, meron din po dalawa, page 1306 at 1306. Doon po sa Muntinlupa, Sukat, 145, 145, pareho din po. Lapu-Lapu City, dalawa din po, page 1588, 1588. At ganun din po, doon sa Lapu-Lapu City, tatlong doble ito. So, anim. Anim po yung item, pero halos pare-pareho po, no? I think si Senator Zubiri would also want to look into this. Sa Bukidnon, meron din po 1435 at 1485, page 1435, page 1485. Ito po ay Barangay Road po ito, 50 million and 10 million. So ito lang po yung gusto kong sabihin, Mr. President. No? I wanted to share this because if you recall, Mr. President, distinguished colleague from Cavite, I made this question last time about putting the budget in the NEP. And kayo mismo sabi nyo nga po, it's already been happening and maganda nga po na pinakita nyo to. In aid of legislation, paano ho ba natin ito i-stop, Mr. President, na dun pa lang sa NEP, tila baga hindi na nasusunod yung executive. Dahil kung tama po na pinapakita nyo po ito, inilalako na nga po inilalako na po nila, and chances are hindi lang po kay Senator Soto, sa ibang senador at sa mga kongresista. And if this happens, ang legislator naman, kung makita for example na isang ghost project yung nangyari, tulad po ng nangyari ngayon sa aming lalawigan ng Bulacan, napakadami po, madi-deny lang po easily ng isang legislator, sasabihin hindi kanya yun at executive, Mr. President. So again, Mr. President, I am here to look into the truth. Paano natin na mahuhuli itong mga miyembro ng sindikato na ito na umiikot para gahasain ang kaban ng ating bayan, Mr. President.
Mr. President, merong transparency hub yung DBM, pinutap nila, no? Ang sa ngayon, hanggang NEP lang daw. So I suggested during the DBCC hearing, I think that was the second hearing, na-expand nila all the way to the GAA, yung sa enrolled bill. Ang problema nila, they cannot also dictate on the legislators, meaning both houses, na maging transparent to identify the proponents of the amendments. Kasi kung wala tayong record, wala tayong minutes, wala tayong transcript, hindi talaga natin matitrace. So it's up to us, no, as a body, anyway, collegial tayo, baka pwedeng we set the example in the upper house na kung saan we identify each and every member of the Senate to identify himself na siya yung proponent ng isang particular or several amendments na sinabit sa chairman ng Finance Committee. And we hope sana yung House of Representatives will follow suit. Kasi without the other house, kalahati lang yung effort natin. Dahil kung ayaw rin mag-identify ng mga individual congressmen, kung sa kanilang galing yung amendment, yung proposed amendments, wala rin. Kasi doon po nawiwili. Actually, Pero if we can only, make it a point na each and every proponent of any amendment is properly identified. Sinabi ko na rin po ito, at least merong shared responsibility. At kung ako yung nag-introduce ng amendment, babantayan ko dapat yung proyekto kasi baka magkaloko-loko, may balik sa akin.
Yeah.
And I hope we can be one in this effort, Mr. President.
I am with you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague from the great province of Cavite. It's just that nanlata ako nung sinabi nyo na at pinaalala nyo sa akin na it takes two to tango na kailangan both
Definitely.
houses, Mr. President. Because ako ho, for example, Mr. President, perhaps I could be a exhibit A, Mr. President, of what has been happening. Because easily they can pinpoint anyone na ito project mo, etc. Without having anything, Mr. President. While if we are to propose an amendment and say this is my amendment and you defend your advocacy on the floor, then there's no way na pwedeng mag-imbento against anyone here in the Senate.
When I responded to you na it takes two to tango, ang gawin lang natin, let's follow the lead of the Senate President. Kung may nag-offer, i-reject natin. Di isa lang yung nagtatango. Hindi mabubuo yung sayaw, hindi ba? But if the legislator being offered to make insertions, nag-bite siya at nagbigay siya, and then sira na yung kamada. But if the senator or congressman would deny such offer or request, then it will not happen, Mr. President. As in the case of the Senate President, he declined, so hindi nangyari. Pero kung nagsabit siya ng 500 million as of now, sabi as of now, for now, sabihin, may karugtong pa yan. Kung humirit pa siya ng, pwede bang another 500 million? Di 1 billion yung naka-insert sa kanya doon. But he declined and he rejected right away. So first off, sa atin na rin magsimula yung initiative. Even if offered, we decline.
And even if it takes two to tango, at least malinis ang konsensya natin at kaya natin sabihin na buhay ang moral issues ng institusyong ito. Mr. President, I'd like to thank the gentleman for entertaining this representation's questions and query. I pray, Mr. President, na gaya nung sinabi ko po kanina, the past 2 years, mismong ako, Mr. President, nagdududa na kung may mangyayari po dito sa flood control. And I'm glad...
Wag po tayo magduda. Ang panawagan ko nga po, no? Yun yung parang downer sa atin eh. Pag nakarinig tayo ng mga netizens, wala yan, walang mangyayari. Then, na-drag down na tayo sa ganung pag-iisip.
And I'm
But,
saying this,
you know,
Mr. President, because when you ran, I told you about it, na I want to win and make sure na may mangyari po dito sa ating advokasya. And the main reason why I'm saying that, Mr. President, is I am a living testimony na halos sumuko na, Mr. President. 3 taon na po ako na nagsasalita ho dito sa bulwagang ito, sa committee hearings, etc. But right now, Mr. President, and I believe that the Lord has sent you in this institution to help us not just ferret out the truth, but come up with concrete solutions, Mr. President. I heard, Mr. President, also just a point of information that the DPWH Secretary will file cases against this assistant district engineer.
I told him that, Mr. President, that we will provide the damning evidence. No?
Yes.
Not only here, but this morning he flew to Oriental Mindoro and he told me last night. And right away, I told my staff, you provide all the information, all the evidence that we have to the staff of Secretary Vince. So when he goes to Oriental Mindoro, tumbok na niya yung pupuntahan niya. And he told me last night, he will do exactly the same thing that he did in Bulacan when he visited. Right away, dinismiss niya yung si Henry Alcantara.
Yes, Mr. President. And other than that, Mr. President, just a point of information, kanina ho binabanggit ni Senator Cayetano, may COA report na po dun po sa mga ghost projects ng Wawaw at ng Sims at ng Diskaya. So, yun lang po. This was the same COA audit highlight report that we subpoena during the first committee hearing of the Blue Ribbon. Thank you again, Mr. President, and I'd like again to congratulate and thank the gentleman from Cavite. I am one with him in pursuing justice, especially for may kababayan si Bulacan. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, next to
John
interpolate
Garrido.
is the gentleman from Pampanga, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, after which will be Senator Erwin Tulfo and then Senator Risa Ontiveros, Mr. President.
Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. May I know if the good senator from Cavite, my co-Caviteño, him being a natural-born Caviteño and me being a naturalized Caviteño.
And also batchmate, 2001, Mr.
Yes,
President.
my mista in the Senate, batch 2001, would be willing to answer a few questions.
Willingly, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Lacson. Unang-uno sa lahat, we congratulate once again Senator Lacson for his well-researched part 2 of his privileged speech on and his expose on the flood control projects. And we're thankful that he has very clearly spelled out the possible options and next steps in terms of filing cases, criminal cases against those involved in this massive, unprecedented plunder of government flood control projects. May I know if maybe this will help guide, likewise, the soon-to-be chairperson of the Committee on Public Accountability, the Blue Ribbon Committee, on the matter of warranties and performance bonds. Because as I understand, I was able to sit down with former Secretary Babe Singson to consult him and to better understand, you know, the lay of the land in terms of this problem of flood control projects gone wrong. That there are warranties as to contract prices under the procurement law, as well as warranties for failed projects. If I may quote, this is the 2016 revised implementing rules and regulations of RA 9184, or the procurement law. For contract price and warranties, it states 62.2, for the procurement of infrastructure projects, the following warranty shall be made from the time project construction commences up to the final acceptance. The contractor shall assume full responsibility for any damage or destruction of the works, for safety, protection, security, convenience, third parties, as well as work equipment. And it states 1 year from project completion up to the final acceptance or the defects liability period. So the following shall be responsible, for example, for structural defects. Nakita natin dun sa mga picture na substandard, etc. Major faults, flaws, deficiencies in one or more key structural elements, etc. Contractor is liable for warranties. Consultant, procuring entity representative, project manager, third parties. And the warranty against structural defects for semi-permanent structures is 5 years. So in other words, if the projects were 2022, 2023, 2024, pasok pa siya dun sa 5 years. Building types, concrete asphalt roads, concrete river control, drainage, irrigation canals, river landing. And ang kanyang mga warranty would be 5%, 10%, or 30%, depending on the form of warranty and security. Hindi ba dapat, based on what we have found out so far, may kilos na ang ating gobyerno para i-enforce itong warranties na ito sa mga napakaraming proyekto na na-uncover natin na substandard o kaya ghost projects?
The bigger problem, Mr. President, is we have a law, but it is not being followed.
Yun na nga.
That is a problem.
Yes. But in this case, hopefully, perhaps during the committee hearings, we can ask the status of whether or not these warranties are now being enforced. Kasi malaking halaga eh.
Very
Third-
good point, Mr. President. We should raise that.
So amount of warranty security should be 30%. Surety bond callable upon demand issued by GSIS, for example. It shall be denominated in Philippine pesos. And ito po, isang remedyo, penalties and warranties that the government can run after the contractors. As well as, I think, kung may warranty yan, sino ang mga, is it insurance companies, guarantee corporations?
Yes, meron pong insurance eh. Ang problema, sino yung agency responsible for invoking or implementing yung mga warranties na ito? Eh yun ding agency na corrupt eh.
Exactly, and that's why with the new Secretary of Public Works,
Yes, high
perhaps
hopes, Mr. President.
we can inquire as to how to go after itong mga substandard structures, construction infrastructures of flood control projects, and make them pay. Sabi nga nila, yes, baka imprisonment is an option. It will take some time, but perhaps the warranties in the millions will be more immediate, and therefore the monetary punishment will be fast and immediate.
Yes, Mr. President, and probably kung medyo recidivist na, perpetual absolute blacklisting.
Blacklisting, yes, we support that. Kaya dito sa warranties na ito, pwedeng habulin ng gobyerno, ng public works ang ating mga contractor at yung kanilang mga surety companies para makolekta, maihabol man lang ang ilang halaga na nalustay. That would be immediately makaka-recover at masasaktan din itong mga contractor na ito dahil sila ay kahit paano hindi man sila nasasampahan pa ng kaso, meron ng mga penalties na pwedeng ma-recover. Yes.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. President, and with the indulgence of the two gentlemen on the floor, just an additional point of information, baka useful po dito sa current topic na tinatalakay nila on the warranties. Naalala ko po, Mr. President, dun sa pangalawang hearing ng Blue Ribbon Committee, dun sa privilege speech ni Senator Lacson, sinabi po ng DPWH na flood control projects are classified as semi-permanent structures having a 5-year warranty period. Samantala daw yung mga permanent structures tulad ng mga kalsada, tulay, o lalo na ng mga tulay, have a 15-year warranty period. So if that's at all useful, Mr. President, for the record. Salamat po, Mr. President.
So, pwede palang habulin yung kabagan 15 years.
Yes. For permanent structures and for semi-permanent, 5 years. Yung mga flood control projects ng 2022, 2023, 2024, which are considered semi-permanent, hanggang 2027, pwedeng habulin. At malaki ang magiging pondo na yan. At
I think we should ask Secretary Vince Dizon kung ilan na yung nasunod natin sa batas regarding warranties.
Yes.
We can request him to submit a list of yung nakolektang warranties or pinaulit sa mga contractor based
Yes.
on the warranties.
Kasi yun, immediate. Mas mabilis yun kaysa sa itong... of course, we have to file the necessary cases. But we know it may take some time. Pero ito, mabilis ang parusa dahil warranties yan at pwedeng kolektahin. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Lacson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Edwin Tulfo is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the good gentleman from Cavite and former top cop of the country yield to some questions?
Certainly to the gentleman from Palawan. No? And ikaw ba, Isabela, o si Rafi? Sorry,
Palawan and the entire Philippines.
entire Philippines.
That's
Thank you,
Senator
Mr.
Rafi.
President.
Anyway, Mr. President, the gentleman from Palawan, from Cavite mentioned about cash converted to chips and chips converted to cash. Tama po ba ang pagkaintindi po namin na yung mga cash na hawak ng mga DPWH district engineer, assistant district engineer, yung mga nasa first district ng Bulacan, nagdadala po ng pera milyon-milyon sa casino at ipapalit po ng cash, kunwari ilalaro nila yung daan-daang milyon, pagkatapos ng ilang oras ay babalik na po sila, papalitan nila muli yung cash para maging cheque na, para pag-deposit nila sa bangko, cheque po ng casino ang nakalagay. Tama po ba yun, Mr. President?
That is correct, Mr. President. That's the money laundering scheme that they employed, that we suspected at least, no, na in-employ nila. Dahil may report kami na pinakamalaking cash na nadala nila, and this is not uncommon. Pag pumasok ka sa casino, 400 million pesos, Mr. President. Talagang hilahan ng mga maleta dyan pagpasok sa casino, and the casino employees, even the security people, don't mind because those are customers, especially yung mga pasado na sa know your client category. Hindi talaga iniintindi na yon. So they can bring as much cash as they can, and it's welcome. But these are being monitored, Mr. President. Meron niya kasi yung PAGCOR and casino itself, meron silang means to monitor. And yung report nga namin, naban pa nga itong grupo nito sa isang casino kasi nasuspetyan sila na nagma-money laundering lamang. Kaya nag-casino hopping na sila.
So Mr. President, ibig sabihin po, may kinalaman din itong mga land-based casinos natin because they allow this kind of operations. Alam ko pong dapat po may tinatawag sila know your client. Pero nasaan na po yung know your client? Di po ba dapat magtaka po ang casino bakit itong si Mr. na hindi naman kilala, hindi naman po ito tycoon, may dalang 400 million at nagpapalit ng pera sa kanilang cashier, Mr. President?
Ang mahirap kasi, Mr. President, gumagamit ng mga aliases eh. So there's no way for the casino operators to find out yung real identities. Kami nga po medyo natagalan before we found out yung kanilang real identities. It took time actually, no. May konting alam niyo na, konting investigasyon, konting contact, nagbibigay ng information before we actually found out sino ba si Henry Alcantara, Joseph whatever. So yan po yung problema rin ng casino, and meron pong batas actually na making the casino operators also criminally or civilly liable pag pinayagan nila na yung government officials makapasok at makapaglaro. Meron ding shared liability yung casino operators. But what can they do kung aliases naman yung ginamit? And these people were able to build their credibility or their reputation as being really big-time gamblers.
Yan po ang susunod ng tatalakayin ng aming komite, Mr. President, yung pong games and amusement. Sa susunod po namin pagdinig, ipapatawag po namin itong mga casino na ito. Anyway, Mr. President, maaari po bang malaman kung ang Anti-Money Laundering Council ay nakapag-file na po ng reklamo sa DOJ or Ombudsman para sa pagsasampa ng kaso ng money laundering offenses sa mga opisyalis na ito? At kung wala pa, bakit po mas nauna po kayo at yung council natin ay hindi pa po nakapag-file, Mr. President?
As we speak, Mr. President, they already have a scheduled meeting with the newly designated Secretary of Public Works, Secretary Vince Dizon. I think meron na silang nakaset na schedule para mag-coordinate along this line.
Nararapat po ba, Mr. President, na matignan din ang bank deposits ng BGC Boys? Ano po ang pumipigil sa atin? Alam ko meron tayong batas na bank secrecy law. Pero paano po ito, Mr. President?
I believe that they are looking into this. If they don't have the records yet, they're already investigating. Ang problema po kasi sa Money Laundering Act, Anti-Money Laundering Act, kailangan may mga predicate crimes. Of course, casinos, in view of the amendment, covered persons na po ito juridical person yung mga casinos. So pag lumampas ng 5 million pesos, agad-agad natitrigger yan at inire-report sa Anti-Money Laundering Council.
Mr. President, sang-ayon po ba kayo na ito pong napakaraming problema sa government infrastructure, lalo na po dito po sa mga flood control, ay kailangan na po madaliin at silipin at kailangan pong sampahan po ng kaso ang mga taong ito, Mr. President?
That's actually my recommendation, Mr. President. That's why we gathered all the damning or if not solid evidence, para pag turn over namin ito sa independent commission, once it is fully constituted, then they can have an easy, they have the means to file immediately cases for preliminary investigation by the Ombudsman or the DOJ.
Ngayong araw po kasi, Mr. President, ang inyong pong lingkod ay naghain po ng isang resolusyon, Senate Bill number 1215, also known as Infrastructure Anomalies Investigation Act of 2025, na dapat po magkaroon ng independent body para maimbestigahan, hindi lamang po executive order na ginawa po ng Pangulo. Sang-ayon po ba kayo rito, Ginoong Pangulo?
Definitely. Let's institutionalize the existence of the independent body to investigate all probable defective infrastructure projects, not just flood control projects, but all infrastructure projects, Mr. President.
May pamamaraan po ba, Ginoong Pangulo, na masampahan na ang mga taong nabanggit, mga opisyales na harap-harapan na pong umamin sa Blue Ribbon Committee ang kanilang tinatawag na pagnanakaw po, pati paglalaro sa mga kasino, maging mga kontraktor kahapon po ay nagtuturoan na at aminado na po na talagang daan-daang milyon ang dumadaan sa kamay nila. May pamamaraan po ba tayo dito sa Senado para makapagsampa o makapagrekomenda na masampahan po sila ng kaso ng Department of Justice o di kaya ng Ombudsman?
Definitely, Mr. President. Basta't meron tayong sinabit sa kanila na mga ebidensya needed to file complaints against these people, then mangyayari po yun. In fact, si Secretary Dizon, di ba, nag-ano na siya ng administrative case against Henry Alcantara on account of his own admission that he was playing in the casino. So agad-agad, nagkaroon ng basis, summary dismissal. The others, I think, susunod na po yun kasi nga, ibibigyan namin sa kanila yung aming record na nanggaling sa PAGCOR na kung saan labas-pasok sa casino itong mga ito using aliases.
I stand corrected, Mr. President. Yung Senate Bill number 1215 po, co-author po tayo ni Senate President Soto. Siya po ang lead author po rito. But anyway, nag-file din po tayo ng 10 mga panukalang batas para makatulong po sa walang problema ng flood control. Sinusuportahan ko po ang privilege speech ng ating butihing senador mula sa Cavite. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po. Tulong-tulong po tayo.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Hihilingin ko sana sa good gentleman from Cavite kung makapag-maikling interpellation lamang ako, ngunit naitanong na rin po ng good gentleman mula sa Palawan. Yung tanong ko po sana ay, if I may proceed, the good gentleman from Cavite,
of course, my
SP Pro Tempore.
fellow minority now majority lawmaker.
Yes, Mr. President. And fellow Caviteño at
And
that.
fellow Caviteño.
Opo. Itatanong ko lang po sana kung may balita na po, Mr. President, ang good gentleman mula sa Cavite, mula sa Anti-Money Laundering Council, dun sa mga transaksyon na binanggit nila sa kanilang two-part so far na privilege speech, Mr.
Meron po.
President.
Meron kami pag-uugnayan.
Okay po. That is very good to know, Mr. President.
Ito po yung
at may
kanilang
bahagyang
sinasabi.
sinabi na
Kailangan
rin.
merong nakapile na complaint bago sila makakilos para mag-freeze. So I think it is a must na yung concern, of course hindi tayo magpa-file ng complaint, yung executive branch. Once na mag-file sila, they can easily move in and freeze the accounts of these people.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Laging mabuting marinig sa mga iba't ibang agency o council sa executive, yung kanilang advice sa mga kapwa members ng executive branch na tulad ng sinasabi ni na Senate President kanina, pinapakita yung halaga ng ganitong mga investigasyon natin o yung ganitong mga privileged speech at mga interpelasyon, mga investigasyon. Dahil nagiging symbiotic tuloy yung tulungan sa pagitan ng legislative at executive branch sa ganitong mga issue tulad ng anti-corruption. So bilang pagwawakas, Mr. President, maikling manifestasyon ng suporta sa nagpapatuloy na privileged speech ng good gentleman mula sa Cavite at ipagpapasalamat ko kung may comments sila dito. So Mr. President, base po sa mga testimonya na narinig natin hanggang kahapon tungkol sa suhulan at sa posibleng paglalaban ng pera sa casino, lumalabas na malayang umiikot ang napakalaking halaga ng pera nang walang trace. Ayon sa Anti-Money Laundering Act as amended, trabaho po ng AMLAC na i-monitor ang galaw ng malalaking pera at kasama po sa predicate offenses ng money laundering ang graft and corruption. Noong 2017, we amended the AMLA, Mr. President, at gaya ng nabanggit na rin kanina ng good gentleman from Cavite, covered persons na ang casino. Ibig sabihin, ang mga casino transactions ay dapat silipin na ng AMLAC. Mungkahi ko po na singilin ang AMLAC sa susunod na hearing ng Blue Ribbon Committee. At inaasahan ko na handa ang mga report nila sa lahat ng questionableng transaksyon ng mga taong kaugnay ng isyong ito. Di po pwedeng walang alam ang AMLAC kung saan dinala ang buwis ng bayan. At kung hindi ito agad aksyonan, kasama ang posibleng asset preservation, mawawala po yan na parang tinangay din ng baha. At hindi po pwedeng hayaan yan, Mr. President. Salamat po, Mr. President, at salamat sa good gentleman from Cavite.
Salamat kaayo, distinguished lady from Capiz and Cavite also.
Thank you. We congratulate the distinguished gentleman for the privileged speech.
If you make this, we're going to Disneyland. Okay? All right, let's see it. What the fuck was that?